of noise out there in the financial world. Bank failures, interest rates, bonds versus stocks. It's a lot. That's why it's important to find a voice of reason that can guide you through these volatile times. Phil Grande and philsgang.com is where you can find honest, helpful guidance to successful investing.
Get the knowledge and understand how the market really works.
And for a limited time, you can join Phil's Gang free for 10 days.
philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Are you a stock market investor without all the information?
What are you, nuts? Market's going up, market's going down. We're getting all this bad information.
How do you invest intelligently? Phil Grande can show you.
If you want real information and you really want to know what the market's going to do and you want the truth, go to my site, philsgang.com, and also listen to me on my radio show every weekday at 3 o'clock Eastern.
Phil's got the answers at philsgang.com.
That's philsgang.com, where you get the truth and you get the information you need about the market.
When you listen to the advice of Phil Grande at philsgang.com, you'll find investing in the stock market makes sense with the right guidance.
People keep saying to me, boy, things are hard, things are tough. Boy, the market's really screwed up. And I don't agree with them. For us here at Phil's Gang, we make it so it's simple. It doesn't matter if the market's bad or good. We consistently do well because we make it simple. And just like for my listeners on the radio or on the internet or my podcast, we make it simple. We try to break it down so you really understand why the market is going up or why there's continued inflation or why the bank rates are going up. So you understand. Especially yields. The most important thing to understand how yields work. Just what we do. We work hard at it.
Trusted advice, easy to understand strategies that will make you a better investor. Get all the details at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. If you invest in the stock market, take a moment for this important advice.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You've got to stop listening to the fake business news networks because they tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear.
Phil Grande guides you step by step on investing.
You're going to know exactly what the tone of the market is. Do I sell? Do I not sell? Do I buy?
All you need to know is philsgang.com.
Check it out, philsgang.com, philsgang.com.
What does it take to be a successful investor in the stock market? Developing your skills and learning from an expert like Phil Grande and philsgang.com.
It doesn't have to be hard or complicated to learn how to invest in stocks properly. It's like anything else. You're going to golf, you're going to learn how to play tennis, ski. You need to be with someone, learn off of them, one-on-one. Now that can be really expensive, cost thousands of dollars, but I have a program that you can join for 10 days free.
Go to philsgang.com and sign up for a free 10-day trial. Phil Grande has developed tools to teach you how to invest in stocks properly. Not only when to buy stocks, but how to sell stocks short.
85% of people in the market lose money. Get out of that group by just joining Phil's Gang.
Now you can learn to invest like a pro with a pro. Phil Grande. Take advantage of this special offer for a free 10-day trial at philsgang.com.
Try it. 10 days free.
That's philsgang.com.
philsgang.com.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money, money, money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money, 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 money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
I think history will remember this administration and the president's economic policies really quite favorably. I think
Quite favorably. What is he? Not just Jared Bernstein. You know who this dope is right here. You remember him?
There is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to Yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
Nothing confusing. This guy is nuts.
You sound insane. Do you realize that? You should be medicated.
What he's trying to say is this. The government prints money. Then the government goes and sells or buys treasuries from the folks. Then when they buy the treasuries, that's debt that goes on our balance sheet. And then we take the treasuries. This is where the con job is. Then they take the treasuries and they stuff them into the banks, especially the 6 largest banks that never been stable since the financial crisis. So they stuff them in the bank, and then the bank calls the Federal Reserve and say, hey, help us. We need money. Would you buy our treasuries? And then the Federal Reserve comes in the back door and buys the treasuries. So think about it. They print money, which is inflationary. And they take that money, this is the government, and says, hey, I'll buy all your bonds. Any of you Americans have bonds, I'll buy them from you. And then now we got all this debt, and now we got all these bonds sitting here. Then they take the bonds, and they take the banks. They say to the banks, here, we're going to give you these bonds. We're going to sell you these bonds, okay? And then you call the Fed. They're going to come in the back door and give you money. What the hell? Are you kidding me? That's what he's talking about. But this guy doesn't know. Hi, I'm Phil Grande. For those who don't know me, my name is Phil Grande. I was Entrepreneur of the Year in the United States. Also, I brought companies to the Inc. 500 list. Those are the 500 fastest growing companies in the United States. And I brought 2 companies to that 500 list. And I also brought companies public. And as I got into the world of Wall Street, I was amazed to find out, that 85% of the small retail investor was losing money. I didn't believe it at first. Now, this is going all the way back to 1999. And I said, this is crazy. The top 10 percentile makes the money. Everybody else loses money. Why? Because they don't short stocks. They only buy stocks. In fact, their 401k, which is a failed experiment, I'm not saying that, it's Ted Benna, who is the founder of the 401k, came out and said that. That's a failed experience because the 401ks are just too expensive. They're crazy. And there's 25 hidden fees. So, I mean, it's just amazing. So at that point, I said, something's got to be done here. And I decided to then step into Wall Street, and I decided to build an educational program. That's Phil's Gang. And and that's what we do. We teach. And it's been going on for over 25 years. And we also designed a chart that's so simple for the retail investor. All he has to do, okay, is if it's green, he buys. If it's red, he sells short. And there's what they call a sweet spot. So I designed that chart 25 years ago, and over 125,000 people have used my chart now, and because it works. So that's how I got into this thing. And then I started a national radio show, and so I gave up that prior life to help the small retail investor, to educate him. And we've been doing it here in my team for 25 years. Okay, let's get on to what's going on. Okay, so how can he say that Biden's going to be remembered for his economic policies? No, here's what he's going to be remembered for. One thing is this.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Good evening. We are coming.
He lied. But everybody knew he was lying when he said that. That's not the surprise. What they're going to remember him for, everybody said they're going to remember him for that. Yeah, I get that. But I'm going to tell you what they really going to remember him for is destroying our economy. That's right. They'll remember him for a liar, but they'll remember more for destroying our economy. Terrible. In fact, let's speed up to where we are today and do a little overview for you. Take a look at this chart right here. What most people don't understand is yields. Yields are climbing. Do you know that the 10-year Treasury yield, okay, is climbing? As people are selling their bonds off, yields are going up. 73 basis points. 73 basis points since September. That's huge. Let me put it in perspective. That's like if you're building a bridge, okay, 20 miles long, from one span to the other side, 20 miles to get to the other side, and you missed it by 15 miles. That's how bad that is. Now, the reason why it's so bad to have these yields climbing like this, because remember, the interest on your credit card, the interest on your automobile, your truck, your van, okay, mortgage, real estate, home improvement loans, and on and on and on, keeps going up, and inflation goes up, and it destroys our economy. This guy is going to be known for his darn economic policies were horrible. The Inflation Reduction Act was terrible. And even the Democrats told them when he was putting it together, it's going to be all inflation. How can you call it the non-inflation act? Are you kidding? What are you, nuts? So he's going to be remembered for this because that Inflation Reduction Act, which was a huge lie, caused us to hit a record debt of $35 trillion. And he's also going to be remembered for being the biggest spender in history. He's spending $10,000 per second, $71 billion per week, $4 billion. This guy, okay, or think of it this way here: $506 million per day. $506 million per day. This is insane. This guy just spends. He borrows $48 billion every 24 hours. This is for his programs. This is for his stupid programs. So the problem with this guy, every time they print money and put it into the system, use the money for stimulus, guess what? It never goes into productivity. That's the problem. It doesn't produce anything. We don't get anything out of it. So when you're not producing, all of a sudden now your economy's not growing, and then they use the money to do stock buybacks, and all of a sudden the stock prices start going up. And now you got stock prices that are insane, the valuations are nuts, but our economy's not growing. And that's what Trump is getting one hell of a mess. So the one thing that we know is this, that if you look at the chart here, it's gone up 73 basis points, and that can destroy our economy. Now, the next chart, why is it that Buffett is dumping $325 billion? He's dumping $335 billion in stock. And people say, well, yeah, that's crazy because, gee, the stock market's doing great. No, it's not. If the stock market was doing great, do you think he would be dumping? He wouldn't be dumping $300 billion worth of stock. So here's what's happened. Buffett dumping this $325 billion, and people look and say, yeah, but the Dow's up 19% from January to where we are now. SPY's up 27%. The Nasdaq's up 27%. Isn't that good? No, because you got to drill down and see where's that coming from. You see, the most of our earnings are coming from 7 stocks called the Magnificent Seven. Here, I have the chart right here. And the Magnificent Seven starts from January to December, where we are now, January 2024 to where we are now, it's up 70%. It's carrying a whole market. Think about this. If you take the first half of 2024, Magnificent Seven drove the market 50%. So it's half of the S&P, rather. The first half of 2024, the Mag 7 drove, okay, remember this, 50% of the S&P gains. Half of the gains. 7 stocks. There's 500. 7, that's it. And they surged, just think about it, 66% since the start of 2024. Microsoft surged 20%. NVIDIA surged 180%. Tesla alone is crushing even the Magnificent Seven. Since October, Tesla's been up 68%. So the contribution, okay, it's about 47% of that $3 trillion market value gains for 2024. I'm talking about the Magnificent Seven. That's what they're contributing, 47% of the $3 trillion market gains. This is it. And then the stock buybacks are really helping, because what they do is they go in and they buy 5 of the Magnificent stocks or companies. They purchase 42 billion. So you got 5 of the 7, right? They purchase 42 billion each in stock buybacks between June 2023 and June 2024. That's a total of 208 billion over 12 months. What are you, nuts? So you see what's going on. The only thing that's stimulating this whole rally that we're having, okay, the only thing that's stimulating the whole rally is the Magnificent Seven stocks. So when you look at the Dow's up 19 and the Spider's up 27, the Q's up 27, and the small mid-cap's up 21, there's nothing to celebrate. And the problem is now we've hit resistance. Okay? And again, not only that, but Buffett. If you look at the Wilshire 5000 to GDP ratio, that's Buffett's favorite chart. What he's telling us, the one reason why he's dumping all his stock, or most of his stock, is because if you look at the medium here, you should be around 40%. The ratio of the Wilshire 5000 to GDP growth should be around about 80%. It's over 200%. That means stocks are so overvalued. It's insane. So think of it this way here. So you have a business, and let's say they're producing only 10% out of 100%. But then take a look at their stock. Instead of their stock being up 10%, their stock's up 90%. Well, wait a minute. If they're only producing 10%, how can their stock be up 90%? Overvaluations, right? And again, most of that is, again, stock buybacks. Most of that's been all the QE. So, and all this stimulus. So that's why if you look at the Wilshire 5000 GDP ratio, he's got it right. Buffett's saying, look, companies aren't producing. We take and print all this money, and here, I'll show you what we do. This is insane. So we print all this money, right? The government, they go buy treasuries, and then they buy treasuries from the folks, and then that's debt, our debt. Then they go and they take the banks, and especially the 7 biggest banks, and they shove those treasuries into the banks. And then in the back door walks the Federal Reserve to buy those treasuries. It's a Ponzi scheme. So that's how they're stimulating the economy. So the government prints money, buys the treasury, gives them to the banks, and then the bank turns around and sells it to the Federal Reserve, so the banks have all this money now to go out and lend. But guess what? They're not lending for productivity. They're lending for stock buybacks. Only the 7 companies are really making the earnings. I'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here. And it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
What does it take to be a successful investor in the stock market? Developing your skills and learning from an expert like Phil Grande and philsgang.com.
It doesn't have to be hard or complicated to learn how to invest in stocks properly. It's like anything else. You're going to golf, or you're going to learn how to play tennis, ski. You need to be with someone, learn off of them, one-on-one. Now that can be really expensive, cost thousands of dollars, but I have a program that you can join for 10 days free.
Go to philsgang.com and sign up for a free 10-day trial. Phil Grande has developed tools to teach you how to invest in stocks properly. Not only when to buy stocks, but how to sell stocks short.
85% of people in the market lose money. Get out of that group by just joining Phil's gang.
Now you can learn to invest like a pro with a pro, Phil Grande. Take advantage of this special offer for a free 10-day trial at philsgang.com.
Try it. 10 days free.
That's philsgang.com.
philsgang.com.
Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Radio Show. Want to know more about Phil's Gang? Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Phil's Gang, team trader. Teaching excellence. For 25 years we've been teaching. Our team's been teaching folks just like you, the small retail investor who doesn't know what they're doing. 85% of you lose money in the stock market because, number one, you don't know how to short, and two, you don't understand that you should stay with the same 6 stocks. Once you learn how to short, you stay with the same 6 powerful stocks. Find the 6 powerful stocks, and you go short and you go long. And I developed a chart, remember, almost 25 years ago. So this chart's been around for 25 years. 125,000 plus people used this chart over 25 years. So it's time tested. It works. When it's red, it tells you not to buy. It tells you to sell the stock. When it's green, you buy. Now this isn't some gimmick. This has been around 25 years. It'll help you. Now let's get to what's going on here. So they're doing everything to try to push this market higher, because let me show you what the market's really doing. Take a look at this chart here. Now remember, I told you what's moving the whole stock market are really 5 of the Magnificent 7 stocks. I mean, there's no argument with that. How can you argue that? That's insane, because again, the first half of this year, 2024, the Mag 7 drove half of the S&P 500 gangs. Think about that. 7. So there's 493 stocks doing nothing. And then the Mag 7 surged 66% since the start of 2024. You see where I'm getting at? And take the big performer. Microsoft up 20%. NVIDIA up 180%. NVIDIA's up 56,000% since 2008, I guess. And it's the S&P's contributing the Magnificent 7 are contributing 47% of the $3 trillion in the market value gains of 2024. Now, how do they get the market to move? Stock buybacks. 5 of the Magnificent 7 companies have purchased $42 billion each. So 5 companies have purchased $42 billion worth of their own stock so far this year. You see what's going on? So take a look at the chart. Here's the problem. If you go back to October 2023, you see how the market, the S&P, is above support line. If you take a trend line, snap a trend line from October 2023 to today, this is how you drill in and see what really is going on. I found this chart. It's a good chart. It shows the S&P, okay, from October 2023, okay, to around July, okay, of 2024 was above support. Started to break a little bit, okay, but not much. It was above support. But here's the trouble. August 2024. Every time the S&P got above support, it failed. There's once, went up again. 2, failed. 3 times, failed. 4 times, failed. 5 times, failed. Now it's running up again. It's going to fail again. It'll be 6 times. When we get to 6,100 and 6,200, that's going to tell us, where is this market going? Is it going to just continue to go up? Will the magnificent 7 stocks continue to be the biggest contributor? 7 stocks, or I should say 5 of the 7 stocks. That's what's been going on. You might as well chuck all the other ones away. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And then what really gets me is this. The garbage that they put out. I mean, when you take these financial shows like CNBC, listen to what Pisani said the other day. This drove me nuts. Let me see. Bob Pisani. Here's what he was talking about. He was talking about the CPI, inflation.
November inflation numbers came in line with expectations. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, increased 0.3% month over month. That is excluding food and energy, the same as the previous 3 months and in line with the consensus estimate.
Now, here's what he should have said. Now, remember what he said? It's in line with estimates. But here's what he should have said. He should have said, the CPI, PPI came in very disappointing. Very disappointing. In fact, the inflation is getting further away from Powell's 2% target. It's going in the wrong direction. The CPI on an annual basis has increased from 2.6 to 2.7. And that's after the monthly increase from 0.2 to 0.3. You see, we're getting further away from Powell's 2%. This is bad. PPI on an annual basis, more inflation, going from 2.6% to 3%. What are you, nuts? And that's after the monthly increase from 0.2 to 0.4. We're going in the wrong direction. This is not good. But what does he say? Oh, it hit our estimate. Oh, I get it. Hit your estimate. So because it hit your estimate, then everything's okay. Yeah, that's what he's saying. And people go and buy stock. Oh, gee, hear what he said? Hit estimate. Just like when you have earnings, right? When they come out with earnings, right? Oh, it beat the street by a penny. Well, who the hell got the penny? It beat estimates. It's always estimates, and people think, oh, if it met, especially the retail investor doesn't know what he's doing. He hears, oh, the stock beat its estimate. They don't realize it's beating their own estimates. They don't realize what's going on with the CPI and PPI. They just lied to us. What they did, what Pisani did for CNBC, is take bad news and turn it into good news by saying the most important thing, hey, we met our estimate. But the estimate was terrible. It was too high. This is what they do. Now, look at my chart here. So if you snap a line from October 2023, it's called the trend line. Again, what people don't realize, when you look at the Magnificent 7 stocks, the 5 of those 7 stocks are carrying this whole market during 2024. 493 stocks are doing squat. Now, the big problem they're not emphasizing is not only is inflation going up, it's going further away from their stupid target of 2%, but the seriousness, okay, or what's really serious is right here. Look, from August 2024 to today, it's below trend. The S&P's below trend. And so every time they try to push it up, it goes below trend. Now, how do they push it up? They stimulate the market by, again, printing money, buying treasuries from the folks, taking the treasuries, okay, and going to the banks that have been insolvent since 2009 and say, here's the treasuries we just bought. Check the back door. Somebody's knocking on the back door. Oh, who's in the back door? Oh, I see Powell. He's got barrels of money. He's going to buy your treasuries. Now all of a sudden you seem healthy. The 5 or the 6 biggest banks in this country have been propped up for 15 years. This is what they do. And that is so inflationary. So you watch now, when we get close to that 6,100, 6,200, I don't know how they're going to keep moving the stock market higher. If they do, we'll be there. We'll keep buying. We'll keep watching our Pro 2 color-coded chart. When it's green, we keep buying. When it turns red, and here's the beautiful thing, we'll short. But the beautiful thing, if it's green and all of a sudden starts turning yellow, it warns you money is coming out. Remember, 25 years this chart's been around. It works. Now, here's what's going on. Here's the stimulus. See how they're stimulating? What they're doing, if you go back to November 2008 to October 2012, remember that? They stimulated, remember the QE1, QE2, and they called the twist, and then QE3? How'd that happen? They printed money, okay, and they shoved it in to, again, these companies, right? And so all of a sudden between November 2008 and October 2022, they took all this money, shoved it into the banks, and the banks turned around and took that money. Instead of helping folks or helping business, they went out and they bought commodities, and then they bought their own shares. Then all of a sudden the bank stocks in 180 days went up 80%. Isn't that insane? But anyway, this is stimulus. This is called stimulus. So we put $14 trillion in stimulus. That's what keeps the market going up. That's what keeps the market. They stimulate the economy, and then the stock market reflects that stimulus. So when you look at the stock market going up, it's not going up on earnings. Only a few companies are pushing it up on earnings. And as I told you, that's what are you trying to say? The Magnificent Seven. Okay. Now, if you take from March 2020, okay, to where we are today. From March 2020 to January 2022, they shoved in $6 trillion to keep the market going up. Keep the market going up. So again, if you took out that stimulus, there'd be no market. If you take out the Magnificent Seven stocks, take out the 5 that's driving the Magnificent Seven, there'd be no market. So this whole market's been phony, but we've made a ton of money. Because why? We're not going to never fight the tape. Never fight the tape. And here you are, Magnificent Seven. Imagine, up 70% from January 2nd to where we are today. And that's why if you join my gang, we work with you every day. We work on the S&P 500, okay? S&P 500, the spiders we call them. And we buy the spiders, we work on the spiders. And again, we work very hard on the spiders because that's where you want to be. And then we pick 5 stocks or 6 stocks, and then the S&P. And we stay with those 6 stocks all year. And we buy when we're supposed to buy them. We get our buy signal, and then we sell short. See, that's why 80%, 85% of people lose money. They never short. Now, everybody's in a 401k are screwed. Everybody's sitting home now with their 401ks. They feel fat and happy. Well, you're going to lose most all your money again, just like what happened with 401ks back in the financial crisis and back in the housing crisis, right? You lost most of your 401k. You're going to lose most of your 401k again because nobody ever gets out in time. And when the market starts to crash, and it will crash, they always do, you can't short. They don't allow you to short. So again, when you have yields, these yields are rising. That's so bad, but they won't tell you that. Just like Pisani the other day, he made it sound like, God, it's great that the PPI is going up, the CPI is going up. That's fine because it's going up instead of down. But guess what? We said it was going to go up. We estimated it was going to go up. So buy. Go and buy stocks. It's wonderful. What? I mean, all kinds of hype. Google the other day. Unbelievable. What hype with Google? The market, the stock takes off, right? And they made an announcement. Oh, what's going on with Google? We got a willow chip. Here, listen to this. I think I have the cut. Listen to this nonsense.
The NASDAQ composite was up 1.8% to an historic high. Investors can thank Alphabet. It was up over 5% again today. Also an historic high on the back of a quantum announcement.
Tell them the truth. The quantum announcement. Listen to this. So Google takes off, right? They pump it. And here you are again, CNBC pumping this damn thing. And here's what they're selling you. They are claiming that this quantum, this chip, can take the most complicated problem that would take 10 trillion years. That's a 10 with, 24 zeros. Trillions and trillions a year. They can solve that problem in 5 minutes with this chip. But wait a minute. MIT came out and said, hold on. This thing is nowhere near being completed. They're just working on it. But Pisani, CNBC, pushed the hype like it was here today. And everybody jumped into Google. They were going nuts. Oh, look at the quantum. The quantum. What the hell are you talking about? It's not even ready. It's going to be years. But this is what the market's about, hype. That's why join my gang, Phil's gang. 25 years we've been teaching, excellence in teaching, and the home of the Pro 2 color-coded chart. Free for 10 days and get my tips.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me to make